Russ McKamey Manor. Scott, how you feel about getting low-key tortured today?
Well, let's see. I can tell you that I heard about the Manor 6 years ago. So I've always been into Halloween. And my mom...
Huge fan.
My mom mentioned to me, she's like, hey, Scott, have you ever seen this? And I was like, no, not really. So she showed me a video of it. I was like, okay, you will not see me go in there. And she was like, yeah, I agree. And then we went into this long conversation. I mean, we're talking years ago, but I still remember it. And we went into this long conversation. Ultimately, we both agreed that it looked like a torture house over a haunted house. And maybe that was the case.
I can tell you that we are huge fans of haunted houses at my house. And this gives haunted houses a bad name. Hello, I'm Brent.
And I'm Scott.
And this
is Strange Embers.
So it looks like Russ has been arrested now. Nothing to do with McKamey Manor, but he has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder attempt on July the 17th. He was charged with domestic assault on July the 18th. And on July the 19th, he was also charged with rape and another second-degree murder attempt as well. So with that being said, shall we introduce McKamey Manor? Russ McKamey, talk about it a little?
Yeah, let's give a little introduction as to who he is and what he does, just to kind of give a background of everything.
He's the owner and proprietor of McKamey Manor. Appears to be that it started in San Diego. Is that right?
It started in California, and when they were in California, it was actually his house is where he did the tour, and in California, it was a 2 to 3 hour tour. Nobody ever made it out of the 2 to 3 hour tour, as we'll get into in a little bit. It was really brutal in California, to the point to the extent, I should say, that it was actually shut down. Once it got shut down, that's whenever he moved to Tennessee. And once he got to Tennessee, he opened it up again.
Now, when he opened it up in Tennessee, wasn't it pretty much a T-move front yard waterboarding extravaganza?
I guess you could say that, or I'm gonna blindfold you, gag you, and dunk you in water that's probably been sitting here for 13 weeks. And I won't do that personally, but, tell you, hey, you don't have to continue on with this. You can stop at any point, and then berate and degrade you the whole time. And then whenever you're done, you're going to go crawl around in the yard with a barrel on your back. There's no house. There's no manor. It's like a physical torture test, honestly, is what it is.
When I hear manor, I'm expecting to see this Norman Bates house back behind the hotel that you're going to go to and have this whole experience. And from what I've seen some pictures. It looks like they're in a garage or a tool shed or something like that.
Yeah. We're gonna call it the tool shed of torture.
Yeah. So it's I never saw this manor, but it is what it is. He can call it what he wants to. This is labor of love. So
it's his pride and joy, honestly, is what it is.
So this kind of piqued my interest. I saw some of this. There are there's plenty of YouTube videos you can find on this. There are Facebook pages as well. one of the Facebook pages I went to find some information is McKamey Manor Exposed.
Yeah, and they also have some YouTube videos out there as well.
Yep, I'll put a link. I'll put a link up on the screen right now, and I will also put a link in the description if anybody wants to go over there and see what they have, what kind of information they have. It looks like the admin or owner of the page has did the tour, so maybe he can help with some insight on here if anybody wants to go by there and just kind of see what they got going on. I have started looking into this, especially after I heard, when I very first heard about it a couple years ago, it kind of piqued my interest a little bit, but there was no it seemed very fraud-like to me of what they were doing, but there wasn't really a whole lot besides that. Besides, it was if you want to sign up to go get tortured for a while, then
that's what it was.
That's what you're going to do.
Yeah, so that brings up the same point that me and my mother had. We were actually watching the documentary that was on whatever at some point after we had
Hulu?
Hulu. After we had that original conversation, I mean, obviously we're talking a ways down the line. Documentary came out, we watched it. She's like, "Hey, you remember that Manor?" I said, "Yeah." We watched, we got maybe 15, 20 minutes into it. And I was like, all right, this is just a quote unquote legal way for him to get his rocks off by torturing people. Honestly, that's, in my humblest opinion, that's what it is.
And it really, really seems like it's that way with him.
I'm jumping ahead a little bit, so we're going to jump back, but let me go ahead. To give a little insight, the charges that he has on him, go back and look when he started this Manor, all the things that were taking place to people, and look at it today, look at where he's at. Is it not a trend that was overlooked?
I really think it could be. The weird thing that I see, though, is right now his current girlfriend, she is standing by and supporting him. I don't really know.
And weren't they not together?
I think they were together. That's what I've really got to. I want to find out more about this. This is just kind of like, for me, this initial episode. This is
It's an introduction.
It's an introduction, but it's also it's a call out there for anybody interested in this. Is we're looking for breadcrumbs also. So, I'm looking around at stuff on here. I'm looking to see what I can find, and there's been several people that's been through the tour. I know there's contracts. He has I have to look. I think they say it's like a 30-page contract.
It's like 30 or 40 pages.
Yep. They have NDAs. They have stuff like that. So, there's things that they probably can't speak about, but there's other things out there as well.
And to talk on your contract, what are some of the key points in this contract that specifies what can and will happen to you?
So one of the big things I saw another YouTube video, and I am going to put a link up for it also. It was Legal Eagle. I'll have their YouTube information on the screen and then in the description as well. But he actually went over I think there's multiple contracts. He went over one of the contracts, and he did a real good job of going over and explaining it. And it looks like some of the key things of the contract is I've heard several people say it does not appear to be written by a lawyer. So it's some kind of, I don't know if it was a homemade contract, if it's some kind of discount contract, whatever kind of contract it is. But from the way this lawyer talks, it seems to have feet, and there's wording he uses in there there is, criminal negligence, stuff like that when it comes to injuries, because when I thought about this, I was like, it don't matter if you sign up to be it can't be legal. But in the States, it is to a point. It depends on what it is. You see.
And what state it is.
What state it is and what's going on. Because there's one of these. I say one of these, several of them. They They get slapped around. I mean, they get beat up. There's some of these, they get roughed up pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking, I saw one in particular where the dude, he was being pulled behind a truck.
Yes. And you would want to say that there's got to be something to do with that can't be legal. I would think on that particular one, that's one that still stands out. I'm not a lawyer. I don't claim to be a lawyer.
Right,
I don't claim to know all that.
That's the same one that I was talking about earlier where he had the dude blindfolded and was dunking him in that water.
What? Get your legs up. Put your legs up. Put your legs up. All the way out.
It's the same video.
Yeah. And so Legal Eagle, the way that he put it was some of the wording that Russ uses in here that kind of gives it some feet is this is a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually discussing this earlier with my wife, and she was thinking the same thing I was, that you can't just be literally torturing, literally just, beating somebody up and all that. There's got to be some legal standpoint to it, but Legal Eagle put it this way, and it makes a lot of sense. You've been to a boxing match before, right? They don't get charged with assault when the match is over.
They don't get charged with murder if they...
That's correct. You're signing up for
all the
X
consequences
amount
that are to come.
Now, he said that there are legality issues that go along with that. If something is criminal neglect, I think is what he said it was, something like that. But there are some stipulations to it.
Or something that's inherently severely dangerous for a person. Like, you remember he was talking about the 25-foot tightrope with no fall arrest or anything?
Right.
I mean, he said that that's obviously something that nobody's challenged. And he even said that he doesn't believe that Russ has actually done that. It's just one of those scare tactics. But that wouldn't probably not hold up because that is a little far-fetched.
Well, he also gave an example in his video of there was a haunted house one time that it was a multi-floor, might have been 2, might have been 3 floors, I don't remember. But on the second floor, there was a window that was open. There was a curtain or a sheet hanging up in front of the window. Well, when somebody run down the hall with a fake chainsaw or whatever, they scared the girl that was in the hallway. When she jumped into that sheet, not knowing the window was on the other side and the window was open. She went straight out of the window, fell 2 stories, broke her back. They got in trouble about that. I bring that point up because the one that you mentioned about the guy being drugged with the chain, I am not a lawyer. I'm just speaking out of my theories. I'm just thinking out loud, right? I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not saying that any of this I'm saying about this will hold any weight to anything. But here's what I'm thinking: the way that's explained by the way that works. So this guy is holding on to a chain and being drugged. So there are parts of this that I think he takes into account. He's not duct taped to the chain. He can let go anytime he wants to.
Well, didn't he have duct tape on his hands?
On his hands, but that don't matter. He's just gripping the chain, and he lets go of it. So with that part being said, I think that's a move that kind of takes him out of that criminal neglect. Because if you just had him chained up and dragging him, let's just say something happened and you didn't know and you're still dragging him, that means he has no say-so at all about what's going on.
Yeah.
But if he can let go of the chain, he still has control over the situation to an extent.
He's just allowing himself to get tortured.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I said, I'm no lawyer. I'm just thinking out loud. Now once he got done with that, you can see he's scraped up, he's cut up and all.
Mm-hmm.
But where that neglect, I think, would come in a situation like that is, what if while he was dragging him, it was dark outside? What if while he was dragging him, there was a stick and it popped up and stabbed him.
Or a rock that hit him in the head. Because if you pay attention to that video, he takes him on a dirt road that has rocks on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So what if his head hit a rock or something? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that's where that falls into that gray area, just like with the girl that jumped out of the window.
Yep.
That didn't happen with him, but what did happen with him was he got really cut up and immediately goes to this deep freezer full of, it looked like year-old muddy water sitting in there. So what if he catches a bad infection?
Cuts. Yeah. And they put him in a straitjacket.
Yeah. So now at that point, if he got really sick and something were to happen to him, could that fall into that? I mean, that's what I'm asking. I'm not saying it would, but that would be the questions I would ask. Yeah. Could it fall into something at that point?
That's a good point.
The other things I want to mention is, so after listening to his about this contract, I feel as far as the Manor, these tours is what he calls it, I feel as far as those, they kind of can hold water because it might be worded good enough to where he is, because I don't think anybody's actually.
They've tried to sue him, but they've never pursued it. It's
they
always
backed out
gotten
before
washed.
It went.
It's always gotten washed. Yep.
So I mean, if somebody actually pursued it, I don't know what would happen. But
see, but here's one thing that I've got when it comes to the lawsuits, and me and you talked about it earlier. In some of these videos, when he's talking to people, and I think it's just him putting a front and lying and trying to make it seem like it's bad. Don't get me wrong, but trying to make it seem like it's worse than it is. He's told people on multiple occasions he's had 3 people die on the property.
Yeah, I saw that he makes you turn in a physical that you have to go see a psychiatrist and a doctor to make sure you're physically and mentally able.
So one of these videos that I've watched, there was a comment, and I wish I could find it and who said it. But it was a comment on, I wish I knew which video it was so I could put a link. But anyway, I digress on that. There was a comment that specified that they had attended this. And one of the biggest issues is Russ makes you stay awake for 24 hours prior to going and doing any of the physical tests. So you're already going to be delirious and delusional because you've got no freaking sleep for 24 hours. Then you're going into all this.
Right.
Now he has a list, and we could put the items that you need to bring. This is the list that you have to bring if you attend. 50-pound bag of dry dog food, 1 box of dog treats. That is your admission fee to get into the quote-unquote manor. Now, he does give that money off to a rescue foundation for dogs. So I do have to at least commend him for that. You have to bring 1 roll of colored duct tape, which he doesn't specify, but he's going to go ahead and he's going to tie you up and do stuff to you with that duct tape that you bring. A pack of AA batteries, glitter and face paint, which he's going to put all over you. 2 helium-filled balloons. You have to bring real food and drink. Not sure what the quotes real are. 4, several towels that will get ruined. A photocopy of your driver's license, a sports physical, and insurance. You have to have proof. You have to have proof of health insurance before you attend, as well as a psych eval. And what's the other evaluation you have to do? You got your sports physical. You got your sports physical, psych eval, and there's one more.
I don't remember.
Okay, well, there's one more that you have to have as well. And then you also need earplugs, gloves, and an adult onesie.
That really sounds like, just listening to that really sounds like I'm fixing to go into a major torture session.
It just sounds twisted.
It really does. But
here's the thing. So we talk about how bad this is. Then he's got filming rules for live feeds. Any person recording must give permission on camera to be filmed. Nobody under 18. No cursing, smoking, drinking. Nothing inappropriate or dangerous, and all filming must be done in horizontal position. So what is the stipulation on inappropriate and dangerous there, Brent?
I don't even know.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, waterboarding was removed as a tactic due to the sheer amount of torture it is.
Out of the manor?
No. Out of
government.
In war tactics, government tactics.
Okay.
Waterboarding was taken out because of the sheer, quote unquote, torture that it promotes and the dangerous aspect of it. Yet they record that. They record people getting choked, pretty much drowned. So what's the clarification on the dangerous?
I don't even know. So let's talk a little bit about current charges and
less of the Manor, more of Russ.
More of Russ now.
I like it.
That's a little bit of the Manor.
Yeah, it's little background just so you know what kind of person we're dealing with.
Now I did see 2 videos. One was with a lady named Holly. That's his ex. Apparently she and him were together in California. She came to Tennessee with him. Another one was with a woman named Susan. So apparently allegedly Susan is an ex.
A young ex.
Susan? No, I don't think she was. The current ex or the current girlfriend. She's younger, I think.
Well, I know, and if it's the right one, the right video I'm thinking of. Susan's the second video, right? Yeah. Holly was first. Yeah. So Susan said that he was much older than her when she dated him, but okay. She didn't care about age.
Oh
that
yeah,
was just a number.
I do remember that. So the biggest takeaways I want to speak about on these. So the 2 videos, in the first one with Holly, allegedly she said that Russ that he had pedophile tendencies. She said that he would be checking out kids and stuff when they went to Walmart and all. And then Susan, I'm not even going to, this is on YouTube also, so I'm not even going to say the things that Susan said that he allegedly told her that has to do with kids. But go watch.
We're going to also put the link or a tag or something in the description in the video. We're going to do something. You really need to go listen to both of their stories. Susan, to be specific, when we're talking about
So we'll put a link to the video. This was this is a channel I was talking about earlier that has these, the McKamey Manor Exposed.
Yep.
And the Susan story, you really need to hear it. It's
disturbing, honestly. I mean, that's lack of better words. I could go and say some other stuff, but that's going to be the best word I have for it.
So with this introduction video to Russ, the main things I want to throw out here right now is you need to listen to the Susan story. You need to listen to Holly's story to begin with. And the other thing I have to go along with this, and I'm going to leave it on as far as this introduction into Russ and just the brief overview of this video with him, that this is all the only thing I got left to say about this. You need to watch those videos. If there is something to go along with the charges that he currently faces, along with things that were said in the past, watch the videos, see what he's charged with, come into the comments, tell us what you know, tell us what you think. Give me a breadcrumb. I need breadcrumbs. I need a trail to follow. Give me some information. What direction do I need to be going to possibly find more information that needs to be out there?
with cases like this that are new, there's not a lot out there. So any bits and pieces of information that you guys have, especially if you go and you listen to these two interviews with Holly and Susan, hear what they have to say. And if y'all know anything, it would be great for us to be able to follow up on. We are going to be keeping track of the whole Russ trial, the whole 9 yards. Currently he's being held with $100,000 bond.
Yes, and I do not know if he bonded out yet.
I don't think he posted. He was going to post the $1,000 bond, and then they upped it to the $100,000 after the other charges got added on.
Okay.
And I don't believe he's been able to post.
If he has, if you know if he has, drop it in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah, we're all eyes and all ears here at Strange Embers Podcast. So we want to thank y'all for coming by. Thank you for the likes, the comments. It's going to be a short video, but expect something in the future that's going to touch on the subject a little bit more in depth. So thank you for stopping by and listening. And always remember, somebody's going to get tortured tonight.
And it does not have to be you.
Good night.